Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video we got some big news. The Washington Commanders are not expected to extend defensive tackle Daron Payne, so we're going to talk about that in today's video, talk about the possibility of him being traded and what we would possibly get in return for Daron Payne. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content on the road to 7,500 subscribers. So please help me get there. Also hit that like button and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video, and go ahead and follow the Twitter. Link is in the description. Now, let's get right into the video. And guys, just a quick reminder, I will be live streaming the first round of the 2022 NFL Draft on my channel with Juan Gotti Talking Sports, so make sure you guys come to that. It should be very fun. So, this news was reported by Ben Standig today of The Athletic, and he says there's a potential twist entering this week's NFL Draft with the Commanders not expected to extend defensive tackle Daron Payne, adding uncertainty to the 2018 first round picks future in Washington. So definitely some big news for sure, and I'll read what Ben Standig had to say, and you guys can check out the article on The Athletic. He says the Commanders are not expected to offer Payne a contract extension. Multiple sources tell The Athletic, meaning the 2018 first round pick and 4-year starter would potentially play out the final year of his rookie contract and enter free agency in 2023. So kind of some big news right there. I don't know if that means like they wouldn't even offer him an extension after this free agencies, or once free agency starts next year, but like right now, at least according to Ben Standig, he doesn't think they're going to offer him an extension now, but maybe he enters free agency next offseason, tests the market, and maybe Washington's willing to pay him then. But I mean, definitely some big news. So real quick, let's look over the stats for Daron Payne before I give you guys my opinion. So 2021 had a solid year, not great, not bad. 4.5 sacks, 50+ tackles, and was okay against the run. Year before was a little bit better against the run, but not as much, not as many sacks, 3 sacks and an interception. Not great production, but solid production. He's been, pretty good as a run stuffer. Not a great pass rusher for an interior guy, but not bad for sure. But my take on this is I am fine with not extending Daron Payne because he's a good player. I don't think he's a great player at this point. Like, he's been in the league for, 4 years? He's been in the league for 4 years. So you kind of know what type of player he is at this point. Like, he's an above average starter, but not much more than that. Like, he's not a Pro Bowl player in my opinion. I thought he could, like, after his second season, I was like, okay, I think this guy can be a Pro Bowl, maybe even an all-pro type player. But, he never really took that next step. He's still a good player, don't get me wrong, but when you're already paying Jonathan Allen 17, 18 mil a year, and you're going to be probably paying Chase Young and Montez Sweat, then that kind of leaves Daron Payne out. I'm not upset with that move, but what I don't get is if you knew this was going to happen, because nothing at all changed from when they didn't bring back Tim Settle and they cut Matt Ioannidis to this point. Nothing changed in terms of, Daron Payne's future with the team. Like, they knew what their stance was on the situation because there was really nothing in between then and now. So I just don't get not re-signing Settle, who really didn't get much money at all. I think it was like $3 million, $4 million a year for a very solid rotational, defensive tackle, and I think he can be a starter. He's been a rotational, tackle for most of his career because he has been playing behind Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne, and Ioannidis. So I just don't get that. And same thing with Ioannidis. Like, I think they probably, if you're gonna get rid of Payne, then after this season, then you got to keep one of those two, either Ioannidis or Settle. I would have preferred Settle. He had a very cheap deal, and he would have probably liked to stay here if he knew he would be a starter. Like, that would probably be his preferred scenario, situation, because he's already been in Washington, for his whole career. He played at VTech, so he obviously is familiar with the area. So I just think they mishandled the situation, and who knows? They could end up, after, let's say he tests free agency next offseason, maybe they get a, deal done with him. But now I really think they either got to extend Daron Payne or trade him, just like Al Galdi said. I'm not pulling up the tweet, but he was kind of saying either extend him or trade him. And, they still have time to extend him. Like, things definitely do change. Like, just because they don't want to extend him now doesn't mean in like 3 months or 2 months that their mind won't change. And again, Ben Stanek, very, very credible reporter, but it is smoke screen season, so who knows what to believe at this point, especially 2 days before the draft. There are so many rumors and things going around that you just don't know what to believe. But I think this is true. It does make sense. But again, things can change. And like I said, you either extend him or trade him. Because, if he leaves in free agency and he does get a big deal and they don't sign anyone major, to a huge salary, they'll probably get a third-round comp pick, which honestly isn't bad value for Daron Payne at this point. But I don't know. It's just very, very tough situation because if you extend him, then you're probably not going to be able to bring back one of your 2 edge rushers. So it's definitely a very tricky situation. And at the same time, also, if you let him walk in free agency, let's say you get a 3rd or 4th round comp pick, well, you have a big hole on your defensive line because who do you have right now that could possibly be a starter? At this point, we don't even really have a true backup. Like, I'm trying to think. We have like James Smith-Williams. We have a couple other kind of depth guys that are second stringers, or backups at best, more likely 3rd stringers. So, we got already right now, we have a hole. We need more depth on the defensive line for sure. And if we traded Daron Payne, then that's one of our biggest positions of need. And they probably could address it in free agency, like maybe Akeem Hicks, who is probably a very similar level to what Daron Payne is right now. He's a little bit older, so he's not a long-term fix, but you can, keep him for a couple years while you develop guys. But regardless, they should, if they're thinking about not extending Daron Payne, like if they think Daron Payne will not be here after next year, well then I'm drafting a defensive tackle in rounds, let's say they end up trading back in rounds 3 to 5, I would try to get one. If not, maybe try to get one in round 4, which I think they have a 4th round pick. So that is something that they have to consider. And this is what Mike Garafolo said on, JP Finley's radio show today. He said, more from Mike Garafolo on Washington possibly getting trade calls this week on Daron Payne. He'll be a guy that teams will inquire on. So, who knows? Maybe they could get... I don't know what his trade value would be at this point. Defensive line, definitely a valuable position. Daron Payne's been a very solid player in this league. I'm thinking maybe like a 3rd round pick. It's tough to say because teams know he's probably going to be available after next year. But again, you trade for a guy, you guarantee he's on your team, and you can probably work out an extension. And, if he goes to free agency, you have no control. You're going to be one of like 10 teams that are trying to get this guy. So, you're going to give up a decent amount to get him. So I would say like 3rd round pick, maybe 4th round pick, maybe a 3rd and a 5th, something in that range, 3rd to 4th round, maybe... I was thinking like maybe, in the middle last season, maybe like a 2nd round pick, but I don't know if we would be able to get that at this point where we don't have as much leverage as we did before when he had 2 years on his deal left and 3 years. And I got a lot of hate. I did this, I made a video like 2 years ago about, Washington is going to have to end up trading Daron Payne or Jonathan Allen, or I talked about the possibility that is because, both these guys were coming up on their contract years and they got a deal done with Jonathan Allen, which is great. But I was saying like they should do what the 49ers did and trade one of those guys, get value before those guys leave. And that's what the 49ers did. And they got, they traded the wrong guy. They traded DeForest Buckner, but they got a 1st round pick in return. And, Eric Armstead's been solid. So I think that's what Washington should try to do. Should try to trade him, see what you can get in, a deal with him. Maybe you can get a 3rd round pick. If you can, then you kind of have to weigh the cost. Like, is a 3rd round pick, worth trading when you're not going to have him for this year? Or would you rather have like a 3rd round comp pick the next year, but you get Daron Payne playing for this whole season? So, I don't know. It's very, very tough. If they can get a 2nd round pick somehow, I would 100% do that. You can probably get a guy in the 2nd round this year like Perion Winfrey or someone like that who can come in there and have similar production to what Daron Payne can do at a very, very cheap price. And if they do trade him, like there's guys, again, I talked about it earlier, that they can get in free agency, like Akeem Hicks, who can produce at a very similar level to what Daron Payne did. Maybe someone like Star Lutulelli wouldn't be at the same level as Daron Payne, but he would be a good veteran to have in that room. So just something to consider. So again, these draft rumors are going to be going crazy the next couple of days. And yeah, I'm very, very excited. We'll be live streaming the first round of the NFL draft. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know. I'm thinking about doing a final mock draft, but I'm thinking about doing it today or tomorrow. So let me know what you guys want to see for that. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.